Okay, it is 8:30. We're going to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the public comment. Do I have any public comments? Any public comments?
Yeah, I'll make a comment.
Okay.
I'm going to step on Eric's toes.
Okay.
I drove out Glasgow Road, and the 55 might, or 45 might go a little too far out. I think they could have probably ended it about at the Hickory Hills Park. I think that's Hickory Hills or Zillman Park, whatever it is.
Yeah,
somewhere in there. So that's the only comment I've got to make.
Okay. Any more public comments? Hearing none, I would like a motion to acknowledge the minutes from July 10th and July 11th.
Thank you, Abby.
Second.
Moved by Dimmitt, seconded by D, who's in the dark somewhere. And all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, D, and thanks for coming. What time is it where you're at?
6:30.
Next item is to meet with the county engineer.
Good morning, supervisors. Getting things lined up for Manats to move in for as a subcontractor for Pelling on Nutmeg next week.
Nice.
Making sure that we've identified where the foundations of that underpass are to make sure that we're not trying to run the stabilizer through a abutment that's buried.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Other than that, we're just about done with contract rock. We should finish it today. Doing some grading. We've pretty well got the twin tank car culvert project completed.
Is that on 220?
On 225th.
That is
east of Tamarack.
It's actually very nice. I've been over it a couple
times. Got a little
times.
dress up to do, and then we'll get it seated after we finish the grading. Out by Batavia on our Cedar Avenue Bridge project, they've got the fence in. So basically, we've got temporary seating, so we're just waiting for the seating window as well for that. And that one should be open to traffic and ready to function. So we've got our environmental approval for the design for the Libertyville Road Bridge there by Wynn's Quarry. So that's proceeding with final design, get that approval. Pelling's grade crew will also start next week working on 146th to get that ready for chip seal. Let's see, we've got the traffic counter up on 110 right now to see how that changes. So we get it right now. They've got the Highway 1 section of the 178 project open, so traffic can, instead of taking the detour, traffic can come south to 110, jog through Pleasant Plain to get around the construction zone. We want to see how that compares to after the switch traffic. Don't know if I have a lot of recourse with the DOT since they did not designate that as a detour route, but we should at least have a leg to stand on to complain if you can show a market change in traffic for deterioration on that. And other than that, we're still working on designing our patch projects and chip seal projects for next year. I may need to amend the 5-year program to switch some of those chip seal routes around. I don't know if I have to, but I'll double check with the DOT on that. So I think we're going to have more patching needed on some of the ones that I had hoped to do than will be in our budget. So we may have to stretch our patching projects over a couple of years to make that work. And also we need to get going on Libertyville roads. That dang thing isn't getting any better. Be nice to get some of that construction done while the bridge is closed. Then I drove out Glasgow Road with my timer, my stopwatch on my phone, and I lied to you. It's a minute longer. Going at 45,
So-
55.
So that means you were driving on Glasgow and on your phone.
No, I had my phone sat on the seat next to me. I hit start and then I started driving.
Good job.
So there is a little bit of delay on that. It's not exact, but
Okay.
it's close enough,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think that's all I got, folks. Oh. Later on, you've got we're still dealing with Salina. And when we were looking at that property up in Salina, I don't remember if I told you this or not, but that right of way on 183rd extension shows as a parcel, but I can find no legal description or any record in the county secondary road files that shows that that was ever deeded to anybody. And there's no legal description that ties it to the parcel that shows it on the assessor's website. And I went through the recorder's office and looked at the original deed on that, and it doesn't describe that parcel plan.
Have you talked to our assistant county attorney?
I think we discussed it briefly.
We discussed it briefly as it pertains to the conveyance, but I don't know if that's something that we want to consider. I mean, it hasn't been brought to our attention by any of the property owners. I don't know.
I think one of the supervisors made a comment about the property looking like a storage yard. So it's kind of up to you guys how you want to proceed on that. I would think is either treated as a nuisance property or
We can,
that's why you guys are elected officials.
I suppose we should have taken photos.
Yeah, we all three looked at that. So it was pretty junky. All of us looked at that.
Yeah.
And I've got a copy there. It shows as a unique parcel on there, but legal description actually starts at the south line of that and then does a really nice job of avoiding that piece of property in its description.
So 183rd only goes to,
The west line of Salina.
you've got this in turquoise.
Yeah, that's,
It goes from Spruce.
Is that 183rd Boulevard then? Is that, no, that's what it is?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, and we didn't talk about vacating and conveying any portion of 183rd.
And right now, it's if you go to the assessor's website, it looks like it is private property.
Oh,
But there's no
okay.
there's no deed or legal description
Okay.
that ties to that.
Our transfer books.
Okay. So I suppose we have some more research to do. Is that what you're saying?
That's
Okay.
Well, but we discussed, does that impact the vacating and conveyance today, or is that something you want to table and then include this, or just go ahead with what we have?
Seems to me like they're two separate
I
things.
think
It does
the two
seem like it's a
separate-
separate thing.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
discussed
You guys
that. I
have
just want to confirm.
had some talk about doing kind of a blanket cleanup while you were discussing it. I think it might.
Dee, do you have an opinion here?
I would rather treat it separately just because it's a different scenario than what was brought to our attention originally.
Good.
Okay. Okay, let's move down to the next item on our agenda, discuss and consider revising the subdivision ordinance and administration thereof.
So we've talked about this a number of times, and I reached out to Bruce Hudson. Because they do Louisa County and Henry County, of course, they have zoning there, but they obviously have their subdivisions, and I wanted to check to see, I sent him more stuff. Our subdivision ordinance, our checklist. Because, we've discussed the issue that we've had with many homes, and we're not opposed to many homes, but our ordinance currently reads that minimum of 1 acre, but it doesn't indicate that you can't have 400 houses on 1 acre. It's got to be cleaned up. It's got to be changed. Most entities that I've talked to, they have, including Corey Frank from the DNR, recommends a minimum of 2 acres and 1 principal dwelling. So, in town, like I live in a mobile home court. So while you could designate a piece of ground that as from an assessment standpoint as a trailer park or buildings on leased land, unlike in town where we have city sewers or all hooked up to city sewer, each one of those entities has to have a septic system when they're out in the county. And so one of the reasons for the larger footprint, if you will, is to be able to accommodate septic systems. And Chapter 69 of the Iowa Code also plays a role in this because there's a certain process that you have to go through. It's a process of elimination. And so up here at the very top, you have sand filter X, and you have to determine whether or not you can use that system. And if you can't, you have to document why you can't before you can get down to any of these others. Each one has to be factored in on it of its own accord, and the reasons why you can't use it documented. So that being said, the systems that the DNR, for example, prefers are at the very top of the list. And when we start having 3 and 4 homes, many homes or otherwise, for example, congregated on one piece of ground of an acre, makes it very problematic. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we haven't, we need to take a look, according to Steve Lemmy, the formula for figuring CSR, corn suitability rating on land, has changed. And so currently right now in our ordinance, it states 55 CSR or above. The ones that Bruce referenced for me, they're at 65. I don't know how that equates. So I just think that there's a lot of updating that we need to do in the subdivision ordinance. And one of the reasons that we even created this ordinance way back when and then expanded upon it was because we had subdivisions going up all over and we didn't have any control. And so the dynamics have changed. So I'm asking the board that we need to sit down and have meetings to determine what that should look like, as well as there is a process that we go through to approve these subdivision ordinances, and all the paperwork needs to accompany that for us to be able to make a decision. And most of it's incumbent upon the people that are applying for a subdivision or a split, like making sure that the taxes are paid. They have to show us documentation of that, what the corn suitability rating, all of those things. If we don't have that in front of us and those checklists complete, which I think should accompany recording documents as well, that the checklist should be.
You can't record it if it doesn't have everything it's supposed to have for.
Yeah, see, I don't know if the checklist is a requirement or if it's just something that we use to determine. But if the Board of Supervisors grants a variance, say, for example, on the corn suitability rating, which we have the right to do, we have to have documentation as to why we granted that variance on that particular piece of ground. So all of that stuff has to come before us. So I'm just asking the board, we need to set up meetings to start reviewing this with the engineer. I've asked Bruce if he would get involved in it, since they handle all of that, and to look at things, and he said he would if we wanted him to. The recorder should be involved in it, the auditor should be involved in it, the attorney should be involved in it. And I know that we've talked about it's probably way past time to recodify our ordinances anyway.
I wanted to mention that, not to broaden the agenda item, but there are lots of ordinances that need to be updated, and I have a whole list of them, including the subdivision ordinance, because we've talked about this many times, in that priority order with the septic systems and tying, you know, the number of dwellings per parcel to the number of septic systems, et cetera, et cetera. And so maybe that we should have a work session to discuss all those ordinances that need to be updated.
That is very wise. There is no way we're going to be able to act on this.
No, it wasn't, that wasn't.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't have put discuss and
That
consider,
was,
because that wasn't quite accurate.
but we're still considering whether or not we want to move forward. So if you don't have that on there, you can't consider.
Sure, so you think we should table this until we can all meet, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that, but even at this point, we need to acknowledge that we need to have all of the documentation that's required, including all of those items that are on the checklist, which are separate checklists for minor subdivisions as opposed to major subdivisions. Because if the requirements of the checklist are not met, or if the checklist has requirements on it that are specific to this or whatever. So moving forward, I would just request that we have all of that documentation. And if it's incumbent upon the property owner, the people that are doing the split, to provide that information. If they don't provide it, we don't move forward.
Okay, to start out, you want to have a meeting, a group. Who do you want involved in that?
Everybody that would be the recorder, the auditor, the attorney, the engineer, UID. Assessor, thank you. Maybe even the treasurer needs to be involved.
So I believe on Wednesday, Wednesdays next week, we're having a department head meeting. We're going to talk about that then.
That's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Sanitary? Is your septic is a,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
that's years ago, I built a house in Johnson County. It took me longer to get my septic permit than the building permit. That's
another issue. We don't have building permits here, so I think it makes it even more imperative that we follow all of the, cross our T's and dot our I's.
I absolutely agree with you. Okay.
Susie, sorry to interrupt, but yes, I agree with what Dwayne just said, because since Dan I don't think is on, but yeah, that definitely would include the environmental health manager, just to clarify. Thank you.
Do you have any comments?
I would suggest that we do this, you know, like maybe just on Mondays after meeting, have some work sessions, because yeah, these ordinances need to be updated. They are have for quite a while, and let's do this thoughtfully and not just, hey, we have to update this and get it done, but let's do it right.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I don't know, but it was fun.
Okay.
make sure that makes the minutes.
We're to compensate that.
That's even got Susie.
We will have a work session with that to be determined. Moving on, discuss and consider speed limit on Glasgow Road. Initially, I guess I thought it was from Hickory Hills to Seven Hills. Seven Hills to Hickory Hills, depending if you're going east or west.
Okay.
That changed. I personally would like it to go back to Seven Hills to Hickory Hills.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I didn't know what she said.
She agrees with me.
Oh, I don't have a dog in the hunt, to be perfectly honest with you. I just want a flashing light, which I believe we have.
We have two flashing lights as you approach from either direction.
Yeah.
We've got their adjoining landowners that have mowed the grasses.
And then
Like,
someday,
yes.
someday,
Okay.
when we're flush with cash, I would like to, someday, I would like to fix that intersection of Osage. so that when you're pulling up to the stop sign, it's a little easier to see.
You know,
east and
either that, if
west.
we have enough money, maybe we could just make an overpass or roundabout. Okay,
I'm more in line for the.
I make a motion that we specifically go from Hickory Hills to Seven Hills with the 45 mph. And anything that goes on to the east from Zelma Hickory Hills, go back to its original 55 mph.
I will second that.
And anything west of Seven Hills goes back to 55 miles an hour.
Was it there?
I have no idea.
I think
And make sure there's no law enforcement on here. I'm not real sure what speed limit was because I probably wasn't following.
so. There's a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Comment.
Oh, wait a minute, there's a comment from somewhere.
Well, that should have been done with the comments.
I don't know who. How do you?
you want me to read the comment because I can see it?
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the chat room. Hang on, and it is from E. Richards. Hello, I live on Glasgow next to Pilchers. Cars come careening down the hill, and I would like to see that speed limit be 45 all the way up to Seven Hills.
Which is what you said, right?
I do. If you go from where Pilcher, before that was Tucker Transmission, and go up that hill,
Yeah.
I know as you come down, it changes to 45. But I would then consider where is the city limits. But the motion on the floor is that has been motion and seconded and passed is from Hickory to Seven Hills. So if you want to go back and look at that, that would be another motion.
Right.
Okay.
No,
So if you're coming in town, you come down the hill as you get to Tucker Transmission,
right.
Pilcher, there is a sign that says 45 mph. And then it goes to 35 on up to the stop signs for the diamond. But I would suggest we get with the city and figure out where the city limit is, or let you guys know for sure where it's at.
Yeah. For the city, because I don't remember the street name, basically just past where the garbage was in the ditch.
Oh, that would be just past the Lee Diamond, headed to the south. On Glasgow.
That's
So where Madison comes down.
the road.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
But this was before Madison, the trash.
The trash was right at.
No,
Yeah, just past Madison.
just passed.
Yeah, it's half of, as I remember, half of Madison is county.
This half is
Oh.
city,
And
that
then-
half is
And
county.
then
Southern.
once you get to Glasgow,
Oh.
that's basically the city.
When you get to the middle Glasgow Road, that's all.
Okay.
And we just had a sign put in the county right away on Madison.
Yeah, and then the city has half of it to the middle Glasgow somewhere. Yeah.
Dwayne, could you go out on your drive arounds and see when that starts? Does anybody here know? Do you know where?
The city limit?
Yeah, well, I know where it starts now, but is there a 55? When's the 55 start?
I don't know. I would think.
Well, let's start till past Osage now.
So it goes all the way to,
Well, now
Yeah, well, now it's 45 all the way out. But I believe it was right at basically where the trail crosses. Possibly 35, 45, I'll double check.
would you please do that and we can talk about that next week? Would you repeat what we decided, please?
I didn't catch everything you said, but basically to make the speed limit go 45 from Seven Hills to Hickory Hills.
Okay.
So essentially, for the record, for the people that are online, what we've done is we reestablished whatever the previous speed limits were, with the exception of Seven Hills to Hickory Hills.
Right.
There's some more in the chat. The 45 mph sign starts at the trail crossing just before Middle Glasgow.
Okay.
Did we actually physically change anything there?
That wasn't our original intent.
Right.
You know? But we should research that for next week and see. Dwayne, if you can look at that and let us know. And then we can answer the questions and deal with the folks on chat. Did you hear me, Dee?
Yeah, it just seems like our original issue was Osage intersection. And being one that drives a lot of country roads, we're not going to fix people driving, not paying attention, being on their phones, which they shouldn't be, texting. We're not going to fix that with a 45 or a 35 or a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. Our original intent was Osage. We've had enough accidents there. We need to do something there. So I hate to overdo this without really studying it and looking at the accidents and what the data tells us. And we're not going to fix deer jumping out in front of people.
I don't know. Okay, Dee, thank you very much.
Just real quick, Dwayne, do you think that potentially there's been enough of an issue there at that intersection at Osage that it might qualify for some DOT safety money? It doesn't look like it.
Unfortunately, we don't. I mean, actually, fortunately, none of our roads in the county are dangerous enough that they're listed as critical roads in their accident website and software, which is a good thing. But you know, relative to some of our other roads, Osage and actually the S curves on Packwood Road are kind of our higher accident lane departures, and you know, just looking at those S curves, I assume most of it is just people not paying attention, and the road curves and they keep going straight. And Osage and Glasgow Road, people just don't acknowledge that there's a stop sign there.
Well, and out on Packwood Road, there's a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. If people would slow down, they'd make the curve.
So that takes all the fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dee, I think it's even in town. I can't tell you how many times I'm on the main thoroughfare and somebody pulls out in front of me like they don't have a stop sign. So I suppose. But anyway, the point today is we have taken back to the Osage to Hickory Hills to Southern Hills. Let's move on for right now. Next item, discuss, consider secondary road transfer.
Hey, Susie, do we vote on that?
What?
The speed limit?
Oh, we did already, Dee. I made the motion, you seconded it, we voted on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Discuss and consider secondary road fund transfer.
More, please.
So
is there any way we can get that in uniform installments?
That's, I suppose, would be a question for. I thought it was. I thought it was not a monthly.
We just get,
yes.
It's based on what his monthly revenues are. So we can get as little as 6,000 or as much as 170,000.
Isn't it based on property taxes coming in? So
yeah, vehicle registrations and property taxes. So it's just a matter of does he have flexibility in his checking account to do that, or
it was my understanding, no, but I am not super involved in that.
Should we ask Shannon? Shannon. Yeah.
But that would be in addition to this.
Thanks, Kevin.
This just simply says transfers are to be made monthly and should not exceed in total the year $1,120,000. So if they're made monthly, there's nothing that indicates it can't be done in equal installments if the revenue is available.
Right.
I would make a motion that we transfer the following amount during the fiscal year July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024 of $1,121,000 from the rural basic fund for secondary roads.
Shannon?
This is just the annual transfer for secondary roads department.
Yeah.
The amount that's on that is the amount that you discussed at budget time. You can raise that or lower it. It's up to you. You don't have to stick with what you put in the budget for this one, since it's just a transfer between county funds.
I guess my question was, the county engineer would like this distributed.
Yeah, my question was, can that be equal? Does the bank account have the ability to do that in equal installments as opposed to?
What would that help? That would help.
Just
more
basically,
even
so,
amount.
yeah. So we have a uniform flow. It's bad enough with the road use tax fund, which can go anywhere from 100,000 to 400,000. And so it's kind of a crapshoot how much money we get. We try to use our funds wisely, but anything that
right now there's probably enough money in the rural fund to be able to do that. If it just depends on what the funds are in the rural fund at the time. This is just the way that we've done it in the past, but it doesn't have to be done that way. It's because, taxes don't come in regularly. A lot of people just wait until close to the deadline to pay. And then this way we would know that the money would be there, but we're transferring more than what we're generating in tax dollars. So, it's coming from fund balance anyway, so some of it is.
Well, there's nothing in this motion that specifically references what the monthly allotment should be. So
that could be determined at a later date.
Okay, so I'll second your motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider the resolution vacating streets and alleyways within the plot of Salina in Jefferson County and conveying said streets and alleys to adjoining property owners.
So just for the record, this is the one that we've been reviewing for several weeks.
Yeah.
And unless there's something new that the engineer bring forward to us, I would make the motion to approve this vacation of these streets and alleys.
So, Elizabeth, this is kind of generic in my mind. We're doing a blanket transfer to the adjoining owners, correct?
It's a conveyance of those streets and, the one street and the alleys that were discussed at the last Board of Supervisors meeting with just like additional language, because I think that you talked about vacating some additional alleyways that were not originally contemplated, but
right.
Everything that was discussed at the last Board of Supervisors meeting.
Lee, do you have any comments, complaints?
No, I think we've driven out there several times. We've talked to property owners several times. Concerns were expressed by Mr. Parsons. So we subsequently went back out and reviewed it. We drove it actually up what currently is 181st. We're talking about a section that The requesting property owner has gravelled and maintained for some time, and it stops at the south edge of that particular parcel.
By the dumpster.
Yeah, which encompasses parcel across the road. So, and nothing south of that. Now, we could review that later on if, you know, at a later date, if the property owners are wanting to look at that. But in this particular instance, that's just that one little section from 180th to actually not even to 181st.
Just to Reddinger's south property line.
End of their property line.
Or actually the center of the alley. South property.
And just a segue, we're going to deal with the property.
I mean, we certainly can. I mean, you know, if, and I can follow up on that because if for no other reason, correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression was that a lot of that stuff was set in the county right away.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be moved there regardless.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But that would be a Bruce Hudson type of thing.
Right. But I will follow up on that.
Thank you very much. Anyway, back to your. Did you make a motion?
I did.
I second that motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion passed. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is to meet with the ambulance director.
Morning.
Good morning, traveler.
I didn't get back to last night about 5. But got everything done, so.
Good.
Good morning.
Morning.
I got back a thing from Jefferson County Foundation. Passing that around. We were awarded 26,500 for the Jefferson County Greater Jefferson County Fairfield, correct?
Pizza party.
Right. Okay. No, it's better than nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know. I just have to, I'm gonna fax that back in.
Brian, what is that you're passing around?
That was the Greater Jefferson County grant. We were awarded 26.5.
Oh, good. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
So the specific use of this is for
The monitors. That'll buy one monitor. So we originally asked for 79,000, but they had to spread it out. So
for 3 months.
yes, ma'am. That's correct. So that'll go a long way. So and then I'm awaiting contact for that community grant. I should hear something today. I'll give them a call. So,
And then the firehouse
subs,
Yeah.
yes. I've applied for that when I was in Dallas. So
What was that?
the firehouse subs.
What is that?
That's a grant they do for firefighters, first responders, and EMS. And you got to live within 50 miles of a firehouse sub in order to qualify for the grant. So I'm gonna be, I wrote that grant to help out with our ventilators as well. So should hear some feedback soon. And also the community grant with the individual, I forget his name. Correct. Yes, I wrote that grant, so I should have an answer back hopefully today with that. And that was for ventilators as well. So also we got our GSA. We were awarded the GSA contract with all the free stuff coming out of Des Moines. And that starts on the 24th, and I can pass out the amount for that. That was with the federal government.
Did they give you a list of items? I mean, is it anything you
Not yet. Our account goes active on the 24th. And once it goes active, then I'll have access to all that. So it was only delayed due to the fact that they were having some technical issues with their website. But that'll be taken care of, and our account will be active on the 24th. And I spoke to Karen. She's the point of contact for the GSA, and we're good to go. So the 24th will be like Christmas when we can open that up. So it's a lot of free stuff we'll have access to. So, and she does a lot of work with EMS around the state. I attended the July 13th service workshop between service and medical directors. Our medical director was online for that as well. 3 hours from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock via Zoom. Made the car ride go by faster. But got the certificate for that. That's a requirement by the state as well. We are working on, we have a hospital meeting today, pharmacy meeting at 1400 or 2 o'clock, sorry. And we originally were scheduled for Friday, but we had to delay because we were moving. And we didn't have internet for a little while. So, but we rescheduled that with Stacy today and Katie. We have our service agreements that we're working on currently with all contiguous counties around us, as well as Packwood, Batavia, and Lockridge. Protocols are done, signed, they'll be uploaded. Spoke to Jacob, and we're going to hopefully be getting our final inspection towards the end of this month. So that's the goal. That puts us 2 months ahead of schedule. Let's see. I think that's about it. Any questions, comments?
Thanks for the update.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Thank you for the update.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you for
Oh, this healing earlier.
heavy stomach. Jesus. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
How's it working downstairs?
Oh, I feel like I'm back in prison. No. No, it's
Well, the bars aren't being delivered till tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Looking forward to that. Right now, it seems like I'm under house arrest, but I'm good.
Well, speaking of, thank you, Wayne. All of our, we have a mountain literally.
Oh, yes, we do.
And supplies out there.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
It's too bad we couldn't have waited to let them be delivered a little later.
No, the issue is, as you're well aware of, our concern was you got to get it while you can get it, otherwise it ends up getting back ordered, then we may not have it when it comes time to hit the road. So
we have 5 things currently. 5 or
Is that your
6 things
concern as
currently
well?
in back order.
It's better to get it now. Yes, ma'am.
They're just a few
It is.
things, order different things.
Some things, if you wait too long, they could be delayed until after October 1st. And
Brian, how's that working for you? Not Brian, Dwayne, you're Dwayne.
From our standpoint, the back room is still in better condition and more organized than what I got there.
You're welcome.
No offense.
That's not a high bar. That's not a high bar.
mark.
It is still, for the most part, usable for what we need. They've just got
Well, I'd like to
one
thank
small area.
the roads department for helping out.
We give them many thanks. We're looking at delivering you a basket picture to say thank you.
It's a first aid kit. Okay.
But no, it's going well. And if we get more supplies and it becomes an issue, then we can look at additional.
So what are your next 3 projects? Or goals you want to get?
Goals is to get my pool going.
Work related projects.
Yes. Project would be get our pharmacy agreement done.
Sure.
Get a transport agreement with the hospital. And also get some more grants written. We're moving along. If I can get that final inspection for the end of the month. I know Jacob's real busy with everything. Hopefully by the end of the month. And then we're about 2 months ahead of schedule.
I think that's great.
So,
if I can speak to the building out there, the remodeling, they're getting it done.
yes, the roof is off. So
That's correct.
and the individuals eating lunch there is not eating lunch there anymore. Parking underneath.
Maybe he should go with the trusses.
Right? Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, but no, everything's getting done. Judy's been on the ball with supplies and helping us get agreements in place, which is very important. Other than that, we're moving right.
And you still have a goal of people starting on the 18th.
That's correct. Yes. Oh, also, I'm glad you brought that up. I got an ad running in the paper, the East Iowa paper as well. They're hiring all positions. That goes out online.
Were you able to work with Shannon to get it on the Indeed?
That's kind of a problem getting it on there because it doesn't go directly to my email. It goes directly to her email. And so we'll have to get that credit card that we're working on in order to place that on there. The free version, it's all free to put it on there, but if you go to click on the candidate, they're like, we're missing financial information.
Well, I suppose if somebody does something, maybe you won't pay for it. So.
Well,
also need to post it on our bulletin board. I don't know if we've done
I
that.
sent it to Abby.
Abby did, all right.
There was nothing attached.
It's an Adobe attachment.
There was no attachment. I sent you an email back.
Could you?
I will.
And then the national register of all the EMTs and whatever you're saying. Well, no, we did that, but the other one, your national certification.
That one has not been done.
Yeah. So what?
I don't know.
I missed.
I still pick it up.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and put it on the radio station. Sorry.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And yeah, I'll work with you about getting that done. But,
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Man.
Next item is to discuss, consider additional ambulance contract payments.
So what this is, Susie, is, we approved here, I don't know, at the request of the attorney's office, the $3,300 a month, our share of the $10,000. Well, we paid that up to this point. We're looking at about July and August. So there were
June and July.
I'm sorry, June and July. So there was 2 things under consideration here, and putting this on was where we were going to take it out of and whether or not we were going to take it out. it's back to the age-old question that it's not being spent, it's not being sent to them. And my assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, is on October 1st, it comes back to us. It's, and I get it, the purpose is so that if we end up going to court, which I don't think we ever will, once they're gone and everything goes forward, because the hearing, as I understand, it's not till December.
Right.
So, anyway, my point is, we have to decide whether or not we want to continue to put the money into the hospital's escrow account, and if we do, where we want to take it out of.
I believe the ambulance board voted to do that as an act of good faith, and I don't think, and Elizabeth, you can stop us, we can comment too much further since it's in litigation.
Yes, I would, yeah, I think that maybe the fact that you've already approved those funds, as you mentioned, D is act of good faith, and just the county is living up to the terms that it agreed to.
And it is in escrow.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to determine where we want to take it out of.
So the account number that I have on there is the number that you've been paying it out of. It's the number that you paid the $16,666.67 out of for the first 3 months. When I did the budget amendment for this current year, I zeroed that line out because I didn't realize there was going to be more payments coming out of it. But you can still pay it out of there. It's just that there's no budget in that line. You do have plenty of budget in your department. You have plenty of budget in that service area. So I guess I would recommend still paying it out of that line just for consistency, so that we've always paid this out of that line.
So I would make a motion, much to my chagrin, that we continue paying it and out of the line item that Shannon recommended.
Second that motion.
Don't seem too enthused.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Merry Christmas.
Shannon, thank you for your help. Next item on the agenda is discuss and consider adding void after 180 days to county checks. This is essentially, I feel, it makes things a little tighter,
Yeah, we had a work session, what was it, last week on this, and I'll make a motion that we do that.
I second that motion. And all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I just wondered if, obviously on one level, we won't be able to do this till we get new checks printed whenever we run out of checks, but then there was also some discussion that maybe somewhere internally we might be able to add that.
Everyone that knew the answer to that question was out towards the end of last week when Darcy was reaching out. So she has, reached out to people, but is waiting to hear back.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just.
And I think essentially this motion was to add it to probably make sense to the new checks.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask a clarifying question. Isn't that currently the county's policy, or is it just, yes, that was my understanding, is that it's a loose policy, but that by adding this to the checks, it would provide notice to people and just clarify.
And honestly, I can't answer that question. Logic dictates that, and I know it's a bank policy, but what the board and discussions we had during the work session that Dee referenced was it probably wasn't proper for the county to rely on somebody else's policy to, so we went this direction. So.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. It says, as discussion has ended, I would like a vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is to discuss, consider approving outstanding claims list and move money to auditor's account. I have before we do that, we've been talking to Mark and the treasurer. He would like us to remove that item, giving him time to figure out what's going on and the best way to correct it. Do you have a comment, Abby?
Based on his email, I think that he's ready to make that deposit. It's a discussion between his office and ours on how much.
Okay.
That was my understanding too, though,
Yeah,
Susie.
yeah. So you guys can talk about this. Have you already talked about it?
No.
Okay, then we'll put this on the agenda for next week. Okay. Okay.
I think it goes back to this, that you've already approved those claims, which is what he's saying, which is what I said. So there doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I read it
on how much money.
I read it as it was solved, the communications between the two offices, and we approved what we needed to now.
Oh, Mark Myers.
Yeah, I believe he wanted to remove the agenda
I
item.
didn't email me until 4:25 on Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I do think, and Susie's right, we put it on next week. But I do think the board should be, can you hear me, Dee? I think the board should be aware of what that amount is, and it should be a consistent amount.
That is correct.
Yes.
A consistent amount, I mean. Does that make sense?
It would follow up along the lines where we said we'd like a dollar amount on the checks written, a total amount.
Right.
That may or may not change. That discussion was last week. Things change.
I think there should be.
Change.
I don't think our checking account should ever be at a zero balance.
I mean, that's what our office has been saying.
Well, I just think that that's part of the communication.
Yeah, there's no fault here,
Right.
either place. We just need to take the time to make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
It's not
Because
good
I don't-
business practice to do it that way.
Huh?
It's not good business practice to do it that
Well,
way.
and I don't know what good business practice is, but I'm just saying the board needs to be informed of what the ultimate.
Right. So I would like to discuss this next week.
Is Mark in or
No, I.
change the one?
Yeah. Next item is to, make committee reports.
Oh,
I had a visit Fairfield, and they've got some bloggers going around doing a lot of things. It was our first in-person meeting for a while. So Visit Fairfield's doing formerly CVB. They've moved now to 107 North Main.
Any other committees, Dee, or any other comments?
No, nothing that, we were all at.
Okay. I know we were busy meeting with the treasurer in the auditor's office concerning that we haven't decided about that yet, so I'm not ready to report on that.
okay. I had a Rust board meeting. Pretty straightforward. We renewed the Warren County environmental health contract. So, Regional Utility Services is the sanitarian for Des Moines County, as well as for Henry County and for Wise County. I also took the signed Jefferson County nuisance ordinance addendum and gave that, so that's been filed over there with Russ. And I did reach out to, after our meeting with Tammy and Troy, I think I've kept you all in the email loops. trying to facilitate a meeting. I have not yet heard back from Keokuk County. Deke was, Keokuk County Supervisor was involved in the fair last week, and he was not at our Regional Utility Services meeting. So I will continue with that. Heard back from Senator Dickey, from Representative Shipley and Representative Hayes. They would be glad to participate. I know we will. And even if Keokuk County can't get involved, I still think we can get together. And then also on Saturday, we had our appreciation picnic. We served about 240 meals, and jazz band played. They were phenomenal. It was Leon and Mindy from the Chamber, and Leon Conley from the Barnes. Everything was just perfect. The location, we moved it back behind the barns. We will have a follow-up meeting, hopefully here sometime before the end of July, 1st of August. I have to reach out to Mindy to kind of clean things up and talk about some things for moving forward for next year. I asked the jazz band to play again next year. They have agreed to, so that's great news. We did a dunk tank. I think the kids really enjoyed the dunk tank. I spent a lot of time in the water, as did several other folks. And all in all, I think that it was very good. And the positive out of all of it, among many things, was that we raised $1,000 for first responders. And Joe was there ramrodding things for us. And I just...
Joe was cooking.
Yeah, you were on the beach side, weren't you?
Well, I was asked at 2, I seen a text at 2:30 if I could help grill.
Yeah.
As I showed up at 3 o'clock ready to get started.
And it was great, as always. Pork Producers and Cattlemen's Association and all those folks. We were sponsored this year by obviously the Chamber, Farm Bureau, Iowa State Bank, Midwest One, First Community Credit Union, Libertyville Savings Bank, Pilot Grove, Washington State Bank, Walmart, Hy-Vee. Truly a community effort, and I'm grateful to everybody. And I personally had a great time. So,
I think everybody did. Was there.
For our viewing audience, what was the name of this event?
The second annual First Responders Appreciation Picnic.
And by responders, who all does that entail?
Well, the first responders are our volunteer group, but that includes our firefighters, our law enforcement, both the police and the sheriff, our ambulance personnel, and I will touch on that in a second. We included the emergency room personnel at the hospital, public health, and emergency management, although Brett does wear 2 hats. And that's all of our fire departments: Lockridge, Libertyville, Packwood, Batavia. We had the hook and ladder out there, the smokehouse. Some kids went through the smokehouse. So, and I reached out to crew members at Care Ambulance.
Thank you.
And invited them, and they did bring a rig.
Thank you.
They were on their way out when they got a call, but when the call was finished, they came out. So
essentially all emergency service, essential services in the town.
Mm-hmm. And we included our jailers and our dispatchers. So we took meals to them, the ones that were working.
Thank you.
So I to be perfectly honest with you, I was just really, really pleased. I think people really enjoyed themselves. We put name tags on our first responders, our firefighters and stuff. And I think we had fun, Joe.
Yeah, it was. It was fun watching you get done. And you did it more than once.
Yeah, we to say we were waterlogged at the end of the event would be an understatement.
And I also think you did a great job of bringing county and city together.
Yeah, and we did have some members of council there.
Yeah.
Judy Ham was there, Paul Gandy.
Was he in the dunk tank?
I tried.
Judy Ham in the dunk tank?
No. I tried to get a couple of state representatives.
In the dunk tank?
Yeah, I did get a commitment from Jeff Shipley though, if it was going to be a Stockport Days, but turns out they already had the flyer printed for Stockport Days, so they're not going to have the dunk tank. So we'll have to bring him in next year. And the dunk tank was free. We've got one. It was a little, let's just say it was well used over the years, but it worked fine. And especially the little kids, you know, we let them get up there and they throw, and so then they just walk up and hit the arm. So it was, you know, we had a ball. I had as much fun as they did.
I can tell.
Yeah, it was. There are some pictures posted in conspicuous places, I guess, but
on Facebook.
Yeah. My grandson Ben was really enjoyed the pushing the thing. So we had fun. I enjoyed it.
You know, next year I would love to see the county engineer in that dunk tank.
Oh, we can work that out.
And maybe
I do a fundraiser to see Susie.
You remember in the comment period.
I'll start out with $100.
I just think, gee whiz, Abby and Shannon, I still like Darcy's, but Abby and Shannon will get picked in that thing.
We can do it.
So you don't like Shannon and
I am just kidding. I'm just kidding. Dee, do you have any comments?
No, I already did committee reports.
Okay. I didn't know if we triggered some memory or something. Okay, the next thing is to allow claims and approve reports.
Just one quick thing.
Yes.
It's on the agenda. I'm going to attend with Chris. I don't know if Chris is still on Zoom or not. She's got a meeting set up at 3 p.m. Thursday.
Yeah.
For Iowa Health and Human Services Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were going
to. I am going to. That's probably why it's listed on the agenda.
So we'll see you, Chris.
Okay, I'll see you Thursday if I don't talk to you before that. And yeah.
Are you taking orders for what we want to eat?
If you're buying, yeah.
So do you want to be my proxy for the ECI meeting this morning?
Yeah, I can answer that for her.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
she's gone.
Chris.
I'm not a voting member on that committee. Sorry. Sorry. But
I will give you all the authority you need.
I heard you say proxy, but I ignored that word. So okay. There you go. All right. Thanks, Lee, for the offer.
Yeah.
I would suppose we need to, I'm sorry, Abby, add to the agenda for the public health meeting at 6 o'clock on Thursday night, because I'm going to do it as well.
And it would be nice.
But you guys aren't voting on anything.
You would be there.
We won't be a part of the decision making process, so we could
never added it before.
Yeah.
Okay, I just
but I didn't know there was one.
Lee and I are both very guilty of getting on a roll and just start talking, and I just want to make sure we're
don't make any decisions.
I included myself.
I know you did.
Motion to allow claims and approve reports.
Would you like
after you've looked at the bills?
Would you like for me to say a specific dollar amount, just for the record?
I think we should. I think we should.
Okay. So I would make a motion to approve claims and allow reports in the amount of $135,817.94.
Could you repeat that?
Yes. In the amount of $135,817.94, of which 94 cents is Joe's paycheck.
No, we don't authorize that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda, before our road trip somewhere, is to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second to
second.
New facilities.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Take care.